Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Thank you for tuning in to the prolonged pandemic, and we are already pulling into our final stretch. Next week is our final week of the prolonged pandemic, and I want to thank all these wonderful guests who have taken their time to present themselves to the world, to people out there. I mean, even though we know that this is being broadcast from Singapore, it is from all of us to the rest of the world, to the whole of the planet. And today we've got Lamar, Wallace, and for the newest viewers and subscribers and visitors to the page and even listeners to the podcast, you're watching the prolonged pandemic for the people, and you've got Lamar Wallace, and let him introduce himself to the world. Lamar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you. It's a pleasure joining you again. Um, to the world, hi. My name is Lamar Wallace. I am a local chef out here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Um, I'm trying to live up to that standard of being a celebrity chef, like Vicky likes to call me. So I own and operate a catering company called Mad Max, MADMACS. Um, I named it after my two daughters. My oldest is Madison, and so that's the Mad part, and my youngest is Mackenzie, and that's the Mac part. And so, just it's a love for my family, so that's why I named it Mad Max after my daughters. They are the inspiration for what I do in my catering company, but in general, my catering company is just operated with love, and we cook with that same passion for love of food, and I consider my food comfort soul food, which back in the United States doesn't necessarily mean fried chicken, macaroni, cheese, even though that is on the menu, but I do, fried rice. Me and Vicky gonna do a fried rice cook-off list, next week.
Yay!
To end the prolonged pandemic. I even if I lose, it's okay because I know Vicky,
I can
you're
never lose to the celebrity chef of North Carolina.
no, but we do all types of cuisines. We do fried rice. We do the traditional soul food of macaroni, cheese, collard greens, and fried chicken. But I do other cuisines like Italian as well, Mexican. You know what I'm saying?
Italian, Mexican.
Yeah, because
Wow.
literally in my idea of what comfort soul food is literally soul food that warms your spirit up when you're down,
Yeah.
something that can help bring families together
Yeah.
and
And
give
heavy.
you the
Yeah.
necessary.
And heavy
Yeah.
on the calories.
Not well. Technically, not everything I cook is heavy on calories because I'm trying to change up my diet myself just because I want to be around for my babies. But and that's one thing I love. What I do is trying to come up with different techniques and cuisines of food that people can still enjoy. And if there's a certain lifestyle that they're living,
Hmm.
doesn't have to necessarily break what their eating habits are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that's what's great about being a caterer. You can cater it
Yeah.
to your exact
Yeah.
clientele, and
Wow.
and and that's what I love to do. And
Yeah.
um, you know, um, I've had the passion for cooking since I was uh, you know 7, 8 years old. So I've been cooking for a long, long time. So by the
Wow.
time I even got to culinary school, there was techniques and things that I didn't know that I was already doing that had
Culinary.
names to
Okay.
it.
Tell,
And
tell us
so
a bit about how does a culinary school look like, and what do you do there in the U.S. in this uh, culinary school?
yeah.
Culinary
So
school. Yeah.
Yeah, so the culinary school that I attended
Yeah,
is Johnson Wells University down in Charlotte, North Carolina,
yeah.
and you pretty much focus 7 days on a certain technique or style. So you do like soup, stocks, and sauces. So literally for 7 days you learn
Soup,
about
stock, and
making
sauces.
soups,
Wow.
making stocks, and making sauces.
Wow.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll move on to another 7 day course. Well, this was back in 2007, so it's been a minute since I've been in culinary school. So I'm not sure how they run it now, but how they were running
Lots
the
of
course.
experience.
Yeah, the experience. And so you pretty much got a mock up of a kitchen,
Yeah,
and it is pretty much your classroom.
yeah,
You get tools, food,
yeah.
and pretty much just learn just that specific technique or flavoring
Mm,
just for 7 whole days. Like there
yeah.
was a butchering class we took for 7 days. And this was interesting, Vicky. Like literally, like you're in a room. It feels like a cooler because it's temperature controlled.
So
And
cold.
so
Wow.
they keep it at a real cool temperature. And you're breaking down, pigs, cows, taking the meat off the bones and things like that, and how to prepare it. So you do things like that.
Mm.
You do a 7 day international course where you're
Wow.
learning French cuisine. You know what I'm saying? You talking about calories? French cuisine.
Yes.
it's
But
it's definitely
the French are heavy on the sugar and the desserts
in the
and the
cream. Yes.
chocolate and the
Oh yes.
cream. They
Yes.
love a
They're
lot of
heavy.
the sugar stuff too.
It's delicious, but
Yeah.
I don't know if if you're trying to be Miss Universe or Mr. Universe of the world, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that type of
Yeah, yeah,
cuisine,
yeah.
for your workout
So you
regimen.
learn like international. So where do you learn your like the fried rice from? Is it is Mexican? There's so many different kinds of fried rice. You've got the Mexican, you've got the Arabic, the Arabic rice. You've got the
Yeah.
Spanish kind of rice. You even got the risotto, the
Yes.
Italian. So I
That's
mean,
Italian. Yeah.
it could be
Yes.
similar in some department.
Yes, and you're honestly right. I mean, the crazy thing is, and this is what I love about the show that we've
Yeah,
been doing.
yeah.
So just like all the different nationalities that you just listed off, the common denominator is rice. People love rice.
We need the
You know what I'm
carbo.
saying?
Yes.
Yes, and honestly, even down in America, Southern cuisine, a lot of dishes contain rice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Rice is a staple for a lot of things. And in this pandemic, it makes sense. People don't understand, you know, rice is relatively cheap. It really is. And it's one of those type of ingredients that it's very versatile. You can
mhm.
use it in so many different cuisines, and you can
Yeah,
cook it so many different ways.
yeah.
You get a certain like for the risotto,
Risotto. Yeah.
it's a certain style of rice called a barrio, but you get risotto from that
Mm,
type of rice.
I
Then you
see.
can use a long grain rice that you can use for just your traditional fried
Yeah,
rice.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Jasmine rice, they use that in
Yes,
certain Indian cuisines. You know what I'm
yes.
saying? So the basmati rice. I
The
mean, you got
basmati
different
Indian
types of
kinds
all
of
type of
grains.
rice. Yes, yes. And but what's fantastic about rice is whether you're vegetarian, vegan, or you do eat animal products, it can translate to everybody. You can take a fried rice and satisfy everybody of one whole crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You don't have to always, put meat products in it, but if you were,
yeah,
I mean, you can use rice as an accompaniment to
yeah,
your, if you got chicken or you
yeah,
got steak or you got salmon or something like that. Or
yeah.
you can just do a vegetable stir fry, mix some vegetables in there, and everybody can eat it. You know, because Ricky, you're vegan, right?
Yes, I have been a vegan for about 15 years.
Okay.
Sometimes it gets a little bit hard, you know, when you travel and you go to meat eating countries like France, where I was there for 7 years, and in Singapore because I'm in a lockdown here, I can't go back there. But you know, these are the a lot of dishes are made for the carnivore.
Hmm. Yeah.
Made for the carnivore or the omnivore. But it's really hard for someone like me. But what I do is when I go to a place, I kind of like just take out the meat. I'm not religious,
Yeah.
regimental vegan. I do it for health. But if I
Health.
can't,
Yes.
I will get my food and I will give my meat to my husband so no he can take that. I'm not like a strict. There are people who are so strict that okay, you can't use the pots and the pans and the oil that has been in meat, right? I think there's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of such talk right now. Like in some of the fast food restaurants, they are trying to roll out like fake meat or something, and then
Yeah.
they're cooking
Yes.
it with the utensils with the meat in the kitchen. I think some of the fast food restaurants are doing that, and the vegans like kind of like have a big huge debate over that. And I'm not that type. I mean, I'm doing it for as much as I can. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a,
Yeah.
like if I do a
Understand.
soup dish, like what you say, I will cook my soup. Um, and we're talking about the lockdown and why this is so important, Lamar. That's why you're so important because in a lockdown situation,
Yeah.
I only buy my grocery like once in 2 weeks and I have it delivered. So I will kind of like have a shopping list to go down. I've got
Yeah.
my free range chicken for my husband, and of course the normal chicken, the free range chicken, frozen beef, fresh beef. I mean, depending. I mean, this is like for him, and then I'm trying so hard to like balance it out as we are cooking for long term for the long haul. I mean, I've been cooking for
Yes.
1 year, the last year 2020, and I've been recycling my dishes. Kind of sick of it, and the prolonged pandemic. I don't, Lamar. I'm not like improving like to that that what they call it, that how much, the what star, Michelin star standard,
Oh, you're missing a start. But look, look. Nobody has to be Gordon Ramsay. Nobody has to be a Michelin star
for
chef.
my
Literally,
husband.
no. Literally,
He's
what's
making a
great?
lot of complaints right now. It's like,
But what's been awesome about this pandemic is that you can literally take certain dishes and
yeah,
stretch them out, 2 maybe 3 days. I have a
yes,
3 and a 5-year-old, so
tell us.
um we do Taco Tuesdays. The girls
Okay,
love
yeah.
Taco Tuesdays. It's just been a American thing, but
Mm, I
but
heard
what I
it.
do is I make sure I cook enough taco meat that get us through Tuesday, definitely Wednesday, and I'll still eat tacos Thursday for lunch, but the girls are done with it. So I can get certain meals to go at least a couple of days. I
Mm,
mean, it saves money. It really does.
mm,
One thing I would recommend for a lot of people at home is try to buy in bulk,
mm.
if you can. So in America,
I,
we have a store called Costco's or
yeah,
Sam's Club, and we have sort of pretty much like a bigger Walmart or certain things like that.
yeah,
But they sell everything in bulk,
yeah,
and if you have a freezer, like a chest or something that you can store extra meat, if you're the carnivorous, team, if you want, just certain space, like soups
yeah.
are big right now. We're going through some kind of little ice
So,
storm,
yeah,
cold situation down here in North
right.
Carolina, and literally you can make a big pot of soup and you can freeze it and pull it out on
Oh,
certain days like this where it's
yeah.
cold. What's your favorite soup, Vicky?
Before I was a vegan, I had a lot of chicken soup. You know,
Oh yeah, I
I
love
think
chicken soup.
the Orient or this part of the world, they take a lot of the chicken broth. They throw
Yes,
everything
yeah.
in. I used to take a lot of chicken soup before I became a vegan. Now I just take like vegetable cabbage soup.
Hmm. Stuff with lots of flavor.
My mine is like I'm just telling you, like mine is like there's no flavor.
But no,
Okay,
I
now
mean, but you know,
I got a couple of questions. It's um, like what will make okay? You've got this number of vegetable, right? You've got your carrots, your cabbage, etc. What will make it like um appetizing? Like okay, I'm looking at it like it like irresistible. What are the few ingredients that is as a must that should be added to any dish or plain dish to kind of spice it up to make it like appetizing?
well, it's really
The
a
buster
combination
sauce.
of. Well, I mean, I do love some hot sauce now. You know, we got so many different brands of hot sauce down here in America,
Yeah.
which ironically, some of these sauces are imported from other countries. Um, you know, there's a good Thai chili sauce. I can't remember the name of the company, but they make a good Thai chili sauce. Um,
The sriracha sauce.
I,
Sriracha.
I do. Yeah, you can definitely use. Oh yeah, you could definitely use sriracha sauce to kick
In
anything up a
anything.
notch.
Yeah.
Yes. It depends on how you're using it. Like if you like, are you using certain like sriracha sauces just like in your soups or just anything that you're just trying to like
In
kick
my
up?
fried rice.
Oh, well, that's why you look. Uh, we're going to do the cook off next week, but I'll take my lumps and I'll take my loss and I'll take it with pride because you're using sriracha sauce in your fried rice, and that's a secret. Okay, so here's a secret that a lot of people don't know,
Yeah.
especially in America.
Yeah.
Especially in America,
Yeah.
they really don't know that the rice that they're getting for fried rice has actually been cooked the day ahead of time.
Before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the day before, and a lot of people don't
For the
know this
restaurants. Yeah.
because the rice adheres better and fries better after it's been cooked. Um, it's the starchiness of the rice is already cooked off, so then it
Yes.
soaks in. It soaks.
Exactly.
Yes, it soaks in the flavor of what you're doing better the next day. It adheres better, and it's a better tasting product. Now, people don't freak out. That is a day old. For most things with food, you usually get a good 7 days out of something that's been cooked. So please, people, don't freak out that you're getting day old fried rice. It happens. It's okay.
No, but you
you know.
know what? You are one up ahead of Gordon Ramsay already by being able to explain it clearly to
Yeah.
the audience because they make a mess of fried
Yeah.
rice in Britain. Gordon Ramsay and the Naked Chef, what his name? Um,
Uh, Jamie Oliver, him? Is that
uh,
him? No, I can't remember his name. I know who you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about okay, I'm just gonna quickly say this quickly. The Naked Chef is Jamie Oliver.
Yeah,
Jamie
that's him.
Oliver.
Yeah.
So I think last year he was cooking fried rice. It was so bad, and I think a lot of people were blasting him. And I looked at him, it was so bad. I mean, he actually literally, after frying it, he put water in it. It's like he's killed it totally. And he called it the Oriental fried rice. I mean,
No.
no, that's why I'm saying that you got it. You got it, guy. And then you know what? When Oprah Winfrey last year in Instagram, she talked
Yeah.
about fried rice, and she actually took out the photo and said, "This is the Singapore fried rice." And it says, and I did my fried rice, and I tagged her in Instagram. I said, "This is the way to do
Just
it,
fried rice.
Oprah."
Yeah.
No, she talked about doing the Singapore fried rice in the kitchen, you know. So I'm gonna take you at your word for the cook-off, and I'm serious about that because I am the fried rice queen.
I know you are. That's what I'm saying. I'll gladly take my loss and beat down like a man. It's okay.
No, I
We
will
both
lose.
probably
I
got the
will lose
same amount.
hands down to the culinary trained celebrity chef of Lamar. But you are right to say that you explained it so well about it has to be overnight,
Hmm.
either in the fridge or not in the fridge. It just has to be dried out
Yes,
so
it
that when
does.
you
It
fry
does.
it, it kind of like it keeps its shape. It doesn't become clumpy. It doesn't just become like a porridge. So
Yes, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, you have said it on the head because I don't know if you do it. I don't wash my rice because when I toast it and heat it up, that's
yeah,
what starts taking all the starchiness away.
yeah,
And I'm not necessarily worried about that, that little milky film. But um, man, you are so right. Because what I do is I'll cook my rice the day before, and I'll
yes.
just put it on a sheet tray and just kind of flatten it
Dry it
out, and I'll
out.
just
Yes.
put it in the fridge and just don't touch it until I need it.
Yeah.
And it works perfectly. It works great.
Yes.
Some of the ingredients I like to put in my fried rice. I love a lot of vegetables. Carrot, onions, a little bit of garlic to give
Yeah.
some extra flavor to it. I usually don't use a lot of salt, and the reason why I don't use a lot of salt is because by the time I put my soy sauce in, that already contains
Mm.
sodium. You can control certain
Yeah.
things like that. So people, please understand, if you're adding soy sauce to your fried rice, limit the amount of salt that you add to it. Soy sauce has a good amount of sodium, which brings that salt flavor to your fried rice. So you don't want to add too much soy sauce and be sprinkling a crap ton of salt on there. You might look, salt is one of those things you never take it out. You can
Yeah.
always all
Yeah.
right.
So you're
Same with
talking,
sugar.
ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the chef right there. I mean, the way you say you should come to my Instagram, Lamar. I mean, I was actually trying to work on my cookbook, about the different recipes of fried rice because I'm doing such a fusion of fried rice. I have the curry fried rice, I mean the Indian, my style of fried rice, and I've got the brown rice, my whole grain brown rice. I get my black wild rice, I get my red rice, and of course you got the traditional white rice, and I've got my multi-grain rice. You got to cook them a little bit differently because they kind of the starchiness
Yes.
is different, the temperature is different, and the hardiness of the grain is slightly different. So you know what?
Yes, that's a
Um,
valid point too.
yeah.
That's a
So
real valid
so
point,
yeah,
especially with the multi-grain.
the texture is important. So when Jamie Oliver actually added water after frying it, everybody was like, "Oh!" It was on YouTube, and everybody was just commenting, and they had it on BBC and all this. You know,
Well, it's something like that. When my thing is like, and I'm gonna say it like normally if you're not from a certain culture and you're
yeah,
doing their cuisine,
yeah,
have the decency and respect to go try to do your research on how they do it. I mean, that's probably why a lot of people were up in arms about Jamie Oliver putting rice on it. Because like, who does that? You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to kind of recreate a certain cuisine from certain cultures that necessarily isn't your background, I
Yeah.
just say do your research.
Yeah.
There's so much information on how to cook certain things on YouTube, and you literally Google is a friend to everybody, so you can find out certain techniques on how to cook certain things. And honestly, I tell the people all the time, and I ask, "Oh, why don't you cook at home?" And this is funny that I'm saying this, being a business owner, being a caterer, sometimes, I'm not trying to shoot myself in the foot. I want people to still be
Yeah.
customers. But I mean, but literally think about it.
Yeah.
How are you going to survive during this pandemic and make sure you have to, especially people who don't eat leftovers. I don't know how you're going to survive this
Yeah.
pandemic.
You're
I'm
talking to
just,
me.
you know, like I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
what's great about feeding a 3 and a 5-year-old is trying to come up with different creative ways
Mm.
to get them to eat. They love hamburgers, so
Mm.
I've managed to make sliders, the little mini
Mm.
hamburgers.
Mm.
And that's gone on to a little trend out in United States, is just
Wow.
miniature hamburgers. So the sliders, just get a
Sliders.
little, yeah, small little burger, and most grocery stores come with the slider size buns.
The
So
buns.
like,
Okay.
yeah, they're
Okay.
like mini hamburger buns,
Okay.
and literally,
Yeah.
they're fun and creative. They're not the big ginormous hamburger most people are used to in America.
Mm.
They're just little miniature little,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the kids love things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so little things like that, and also just finding ways to spend time in the kitchen as a family.
Mm.
Um, my my loved one, my wife, she finds a way to, she doesn't do a lot of cooking in the house, but what she does a lot of what the little arts and crafts with the girls. They'll
Mm.
get like a little cookie set. They'll bake the cookies and they'll come and decorate them with icing and
Yeah.
little things like that. Like things like that are fun to do as a family. You know what I'm
During the
saying?
lockdown, you need that.
Oh, I mean, 'cause first of all, during a lockdown, you're around each other.
Yeah.
There's really limited space of how much you could get away from people,
Yeah.
or actual interaction outside the
Yeah.
house. So we've been finding times to just do little arts and crafts like that, baking cookies together,
Yeah.
baking cupcakes. I'm
Yeah.
not much of a baker.
Yeah.
But there might be a couple of times we might have to redo a batch, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We got the time to do that,
Yeah.
but you can't duplicate or recreate that time and that bond that you're creating
Mm.
with your family and your loved ones when you're doing, certain cooking projects like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my girls aren't at the age where, they could put knives in their hands yet. It's okay,
Mm.
and that's where we step in as parents and take care of certain tasks. It's so much fun to just, especially for me that, I do this on a regular to help, bring and keep the roof over the house and food on their table and, clothes on their back. So, it's also a time that I share a passion with myself, with my girls, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And they have their little, pretend cooking set in their room where they act like they're cooking. And so, it's always fun to do certain
Yeah.
activities like that gets you through this pandemic, and you creating bonding time, you're creating memories.
Yeah.
Because it's funny that, even just making cookies with my kids brings me back to when I was helping my mom or helping my dad
Yeah.
literally take the collard greens off the stalks and helping him clean collard greens, around
Mm.
Thanksgiving and
Yeah.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It reminds me of the time, because my grandmother had a little garden in the backyard of her house in Kansas City growing up. So I remember going to help her after she picked a grocery bag full of green beans, and I remember helping her pick those. You know, those are family moments and family bonds that we created, that even though my grandmother is no longer here, she's there with me. You know what I'm saying? Just that moment that you was able to spend with the loved one, and it creates lifelong memories, and you can always tap into those memories just by recreating them, you know, with your children. It's something that can be passed down. And it's cooking literally can bring people together. Food brings people.
And I think you brought up a very important point, as in, you know, we are going into the next stretch of the pandemic now. You know, we don't know when it will all go back to normal. You know, we are going to another stretch, and then you know, like what you said the other time, you know, it's going into the brain, and everyone all over the world is saying the same thing. It's getting into the brain, and it's getting into relationship strains. And I think you brought up a very important point, because we've got to eat every day. I mean, this is survival time. We're in lockdown, and it gets expensive when it gets delivered every day, right?
Yes.
Delivery costs, food costs. I mean, the restaurants, they have to survive, and even if the cost of the food isn't increasing, the amount of the food is getting less when you get it delivered from restaurants, because it's a lot of cost management right now for the restaurants. They're trying to survive at the same time. So it's being pushed to families now, and you're right to say that it gets so much strain in a relationship, in the families, and you're right to say that cooking could be the one way to release that stress and have fun, and yet at the same time have so much bonding during this period of time. Like it's something like a new thing that husband and wives can come together, children and parents can come together. And you know, Lamar, I actually watched the YouTube for inspiration. So I actually try to subscribe to like 50 channels of like baking, cooking. You know, I'm getting better in cookies now. You know, my cookies came out like a sponge at first. I'm like, okay, I couldn't eat this because I couldn't understand the principles behind. So I have to watch so many times. And you're right to say that if I bring the stress, but I bring in my husband to say that, hey, let's try this out together, that stress became a fun thing to do. And then you can laugh over it when it doesn't work out.
Oh yeah, and I've had many laughs over some bacon over here, but it's okay.
And you are totally right. And the thing is that if we do it at home, it is so much cheaper. I mean, you get a bag of flour, right? And you can do it over and over and over again with a big bag of flour, right? I mean, 1 kilo, 2 kilo, up to 5 kilos. But if you do
flour is pretty cheap.
But if you buy it online to have it delivered, I mean, that's totally different, right? I mean, that's how you do keep the costs down, and yet at the same time you learn something new, and you actually bond with your loved one in the process of, you know, looking at the YouTube. And I've got so many channels of YouTube of the Korean cooking. I look at the Korean woman, she's talking about, okay, fermentation of the vegetable. I mean, I don't cook that, but I learn a new culture. You know, food is so much culture, Lamar. You're right. There's so much culture in food.
So much culture in food. And honestly, you know, it tells a lot about you know, a chef's journey. It is food. You know, how are they cooking it, like technique wise? Like, are they frying it? Are they broiling? Are they sauteing? Are they grilling? Are they, you know, are they baking? You know,
that's a chef right there.
I mean, literally that tells a chef's story. You know, what have they learned? You know, the greatest thing about a well-rounded chef, as a person that can tell you many stories of just what they've experienced. You know what I'm saying? You know, and unfortunately with the pandemic, it's not a lot of traveling that you can really, you know, do that you could before. But you know, one of the biggest things for me, you know, I lived in the southern part of the United States for half of my life, you know, and grew up in the Midwest part of the United States. So and then I spent time on the coastline, you know what I'm saying? So there's more seafood on the coastline, you know what I'm saying? So I've seen so many different cuisines, you know, so that's why, you know, I geared my catering company to do different type of cuisines because you know, one thing that's going on in the United States, you know, there's people that live towards New York for majority of life, but they're slowly migrating further south. You know what I'm saying? And so there's going to be certain things that's going to remind them of back home. You know what I'm saying? You know, they'll gravitate to more of the more Italian geared food that I cook because it'll remind them of home. You know, food tells a lot about people's stories. You know, I had a customer, you know, get some. I made chicken Alfredo, and it was like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of home. It reminds me of, you know, when my grandmother cooked, and I'm like, wow, that means a lot. You know what I'm saying? If something that I made brings a person back to when they were a little kid and their grandmother was cooking for them, and you know that's the biggest compliment a chef could ever get is something reminds them of something else in a past time. You know what I'm saying? Then you've done your job. And it's not necessarily, and I don't even consider this a job. I really don't. Ricky, you know, and you can attest to this, when you do something that you love so much, is it really a job? I mean, yeah, you may get paid for it.
You're really just doing your passion and getting paid.
Yes, you really are. So like the money that you get is pretty much the icing on top of the cake because it's like, I can't believe I get paid to do this sometimes. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not gonna do a lot of working for free. Let's be honest, you know, but sometimes just you know, recognition can sometimes get to a chef that money can't. It brings a certain satisfaction, a certain joy, a certain appreciation that money sometimes can't always fulfill. You know what I'm saying? Gratitude like that means everything. You know, my youngest daughter will give me the thumbs up. I'm like, baby, do you like that? Yeah. You know, if I know I got the thumbs up, daddy did good.
Fantastic.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that is awesome.
It gets, you know, it gets your face smiling, it gets your mood up. Nothing can, it's not something that money can really buy. You know, getting your spirit up, getting your mood up, and that motivation of moving forward, that's when someone appreciates what you do. That's when someone, they really show the appreciation and you feel the love. So Lamar, I just want to ask you, like, as you are, like, you are the father of the house and your wife isn't the one who's going to be like doing a lot of cooking. You do set a budget for the week, a budget for the month for food, right? I mean, we have got this thing in my mind. I'm going to set how much hundred of dollars for this. Do you do that? What is the advice for people in 2021 in prolonged lockdown? As their budgets get smaller, their income gets smaller. How do they do a very good budgeting calculation beforehand and not overspend? And how do we do that?
Well, one, you got to be realistic on exactly what your income really is and what your expenses really are. And rule number one for me is, even though I'm a catering company, I get it. Try to limit your spending of outside food. And like I said, it's crazy. I know I'm a catering company. But
You're an
I'm speaking
honest
food.
chef.
But I'm honest. As much as I want customers, the number one thing to save is limit your amounts. I'm not saying 100%. You don't have to 100% cut it out, but limit the amount that you are spending at McDonald's, Taco Bell, KFC, Hardee's. You got to limit it. You know what I'm saying? So that's for one. And then I would also say is when it comes to the budgeting part, get what you need. And what I mean by that is, people want to get snacks and things like that, and that's okay. But, try to limit, getting the big bag of potato chips and the unnecessary bulky thing of gummy bears and stuff like that. Get stuff you need when it comes to the pandemic. If you get certain situations like, get things that they can stretch. Rice stretches, potato stretch. You can literally take a baked potato, bake it, and you can scrape out all the potato, keep the skin, and you can literally you can make the mashed potatoes, and then you can even pipe them back into the little potato skin and have twice baked potato. You know what I'm saying? So you can take certain things and use them for certain I call them second dishes. So it's pretty much you make one dish, but then you take
Could you give us an example?
Yeah. So here's an example. So one of my dishes I like to do a lot here at the house is I literally just make a pot of steamed white rice, and it usually goes with some roasted chicken or baked chicken that I've done, or some salmon or something like that, and fruit veggies and what I do was the leftover white rice that I got, and then the veggies I got left over, the next day I can turn that into a fried rice easily. You know what I'm saying? Those are second dishes. Save a lot of money. Yes, you created two dishes out of one thing. Yes. Find ways. People have to find ways to maximize your opportunities or situations with just certain ingredients. Just because you have I've done it for dinner. I'll just do like cube up some potatoes and saute them, and so I had those for dinner. I can easily go into the morning and turn those into breakfast potatoes, add some onions and some bell peppers, and now I got breakfast potatoes. So I took a side item that I had the night before for dinner, and I can turn it into a dish for breakfast. I mean, I've done steak and eggs for breakfast after I've had steak the night before. You know what I'm saying? You find a way to take one dish and not necessarily prolong it for everybody. Instead of just eating it for just what it was that you made it for, you can easily turn it into something else. Like I said, the rice. So you got white rice. You can turn that into a fiesta bowl the next day. Add some, certain. So take like white rice and then kind of almost like your fried rice, but instead of the Oriental ingredients, use certain Mexican spices. You know what I'm saying?
Mexican spices. Okay.
Yes, coriander, chili powder, cumin, stuff like that, and you can add certain vegetables, a little tomato paste.
Sounds good already.
Yeah. I mean, and so you can, like I said, I call them the second dish, so usually there's a lot of dishes that I can take, like mashed potatoes. You can have, So your mashed potatoes, you've had it with meatloaf and some green beans the night before. You know, the next day you could add a little flour, a little egg, and turn it into a potato pancake. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the possibilities are endless of what you can do to take one meal and stretch into a second one.
Can you give us one final lockdown recipe with pasta? What can we do with pasta? Besides maybe like the pasta, I know the famous American mac and cheese. I don't know how it's done, but it's so famous. And tell us like one pasta, what can you turn it into? Like maybe 3 things?
Well, the good thing about pasta is you can, so like spaghetti noodles, for instance. You can, or even penne noodles, or the bow tie little noodles, pasta noodles. So what's great about that is one day you can eat it with a meat sauce, and so is, you know, it's tomato based, and you got your ground meat and your onions and your carrots in there. You can eat that on Monday, but you don't necessarily have to toss your noodles in it. So the next day, if you want an Alfredo sauce, which is a cream based sauce, some garlic, reduced white wine, Parmesan cheese, and you make a sauce with it, and you can do that on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, the third day, you can do a pesto sauce. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty much basil grounded up with roasted pine nuts and garlic and Parmesan cheese. And you drizzle in some extra virgin olive oil, and then you get a green
Can we have
pesto.
home dining here with Lamar, Wallace?
But you know,
do you do that? Do you do that kind of service? Can it be an extra service that you can give, and it gives you an extra line of service and revenue to home dining? I think they do it right in some countries. Do they do it in America?
As in like just doing in-home cooking. I've honestly done a couple of in-house catered parties where it's more
you go to the client's kitchen.
So I go to the client's house. I've used their kitchen and literally just cook them. Cook from there, and it's more intimate, it's more personable, you know what I'm saying? So they you know, certain catering companies, you know, like myself, do offer that plan. Now I don't know how much are they doing it right now in the pandemic, but you know, honestly, Vicky, the trend that's going on right now in America during the pandemic is like I've done box lunches, which is pretty much cook a meal fully all the way through, and literally put it in a container. Put it in a container and just drop it off, and I'll give heating directions to go with it. You know what I'm saying? Just
I thought that would be good, because, and I'm thinking about that. We don't have a lot of that in Singapore. But I thought that is a kind of another kind of catering, like what you say, box catering, whereby people like us, we don't have to be like thinking so much about cooking today and tomorrow, and we don't want to be like ordering from restaurants, ordering from McDonald's. We want someone like you are cooking from your home to my home, right? We can be assured of that level of homeliness in the food. Now, I thought that is going to be like the trend of the pandemic coming. How do you see that becoming one of the major like dining trends?
Well, I honestly, I think it is going to be the trend, because you still have those who, like, you know, as much as like the home cooking, because like, you know, there's plenty of people that still, I'm not gonna say they refuse to cook. Maybe they just don't have the patience to cook. Maybe they just don't have the, you know, make the time to cook. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're just fed up with cooking and the washing. You're just fed up with the washing.
And you know, and you're right. There are going to be people that, you know, they get, you know, like, hey, You know, I've been cooking the same 5 meals this whole pandemic. I can't eat the same
I
five.
can't do it anymore. God
Yeah,
help
I can't do
me.
it anymore. So
So yeah, I hope
that's been probably, and as a catering company, that's probably been one of my saving graces. As a catering company, you know, if anything, the pandemic makes you evolve and makes you find out what kind of different other avenues you can do to
yeah,
make money. And so, you
yeah,
know, um, I think that might be the way for survival of a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I
Both
mean, and
as an
you
as
are
an
right
company.
in both ways. Like for example,
Yeah.
I'm your client, right? Because you want to buy it in bulk for
Hmm.
you, right? I don't buy as much in bulk from my kitchen and my fridge. It was just me and my
Yeah.
husband. I can't buy like 5 kilos of like vegetables, right? But you are gonna buy that 5 kilos. You are going to have that kind of savings, and then you will be delivering in boxes, paper boxes, styrofoam boxes to the homes. And then it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be fanciful stuff. It's just like home-based cooking. And then for
Yeah.
me, I save the cooking and I saved buying from restaurants. I save buying from like the fancy restaurants and it kind of saves me um, the pain about okay, I need home cooking, yet I want to save the cost, and you are actually helping me to go in between the price of a restaurant, and yet
Yeah.
you are also doing the bulk buying whereby you can get a lot of saving from the bulk, and you are actually giving the passing the savings to people like me, the clients. Instead of me
Yes.
buying a
Yes.
5 kilogram of vegetables and a 5 kilogram of beef for my husband that he can only eat this and that is gonna like last me for a year. You know, it doesn't make sense for small families to be like buying such big bulk. So I think that is actually one of the big ways to go. It helps people like me. You should be
Yeah.
promoting
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it helps on both ends because I'm still a
It is win-win for both. Could you
yeah,
tell
because
us
I'm
more
still
about
a
your
caterer.
business? Could you tell us more about your what do you call it? A box delivery?
Yeah, just pretty much box lunches or box dinners is pretty much
Yeah.
just
And
you
they can
know
subscribe, right? Can they
what's
subscribe by
that?
the week? Can they subscribe by the week, by the month?
Yeah, so like what I've done is literally I come up with the menu, a monthly menu, and what I do per week. So
Yeah.
so one week I'll do a pasta dish, like chicken parm and
Please, I
fettuccine.
want that. Can I please subscribe? So
I
Lamar, I
know,
think
I know we got to
you
get
hit
this
the
delivery
jackpot.
service over here to
You
Singapore.
hit the jackpot and you hit the gold mine. So in the next 30 seconds, I'm just going to give to Lamar Wallace, the upcoming celebrity chef of North Carolina. And this is something that everyone needs, the box lunch or the box dinner delivery on subscription basis. Subscribe your box lunch and your box delivery from Lamar. 15 seconds to you, Lamar, before we say goodbye to you.
Vicky, it's always been a pleasure to talk to you. People out there in the world, if you don't cook, find a company that's going to cater to your needs and cater to your budget.
Yes.
That's going to help your dollar stretch during this pandemic. And of course, it's always great to support local businesses that are doing such
Please.
things. So
Yeah.
they are out there. Just do your research. And most catering companies are going to do their best to spread the love to you. But peace and prosperity to everybody out here in this pandemic.
So Lamar, we're going to talk about our cook-off. I'm going
Yes.
to tell you about, I'm going to tell everyone, Lamar Wallace, he's offering the box lunch, box dinner, by subscription, by week or bi-weekly, by week or bi-weekly,
Yeah, no,
by
you're right.
fortnightly. What I mean is by fortnightly or by the month. And he's going to give like a menu for you to select what you want, what was your preference. And I think, Lamar, you are saving a lot of fights in a homes, because husbands and wives are fighting over washing the dishes. So
Hey, Vicky, hey, Vicky. Not only that, it's just the actual choice of what you're going to eat first. So, babe,
yes,
what are we eating? What are you eating?
yeah,
What are we
you
eating?
take
What do
you
you
take
want
the
to eat?
worry out of them. You take the fight out of them, because you have decided for them, like, this is what they're gonna eat for the week. I'm excited for you. You could offer the pasta, and then you can offer the Weight Watchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can
Yeah,
offer the carnivorous and the vegans. I mean, the sky is the limit. And I think you're
and I
all,
mean that's what's great.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the sky is the limit. I mean, you should be. I will help you to do up your brochure. If you
yeah.
allow me to do it for free for you, then you are going to save so much fights between husband and wives in the kitchen. It's like, damn it! It's like, it's not my day to wash. You haven't you washed the dishes? It's like, the cockroaches are coming. It's piling out there in the kitchen. The kitchen
Oh
management.
man.
You're a
Hey,
savior. I mean, I'm just telling you, you're a savior. Offer that to me in Singapore.
I know we got to get one of these melon companies to give us a little discount on melon
Yeah.
meals over there.
Oh, really? No, we are also going to. I'm going to help you develop your business. I'm just going to give you a lot of ideas: franchise, licensing, your model, your
Yeah,
brand, and it's all about celebrity. It's all about personality behind the food. It's really just about the face, the one who cooks the food. It's really just about that. So,
yeah.
Lamar, thank you so much for another wonderful session, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Ricky. You are so awesome. This has been fantastic doing this project.
Okay, I'm good. Before you go, I'm going to admit a friend, and then I'm going to say goodbye to you. So, Lamar, I am going to say goodbye to you as I bring in my friend, director and producer, Mr. Ming from Singapore. So Lamar, I will see you next week in our cook-off. So I'm going to tell Ming here next week, a little bit of promotion to ladies and gentlemen. Lamar and myself, we're going to have a fried rice cook-off. We're going to see who is the crown, the king or the queen of the
Oh,
fried rice
we know you the
battle
queen.
in Singapore. All right. Thank you so much, celebrity chef.
Thank you,
Okay.
Vic.
Yeah, bye. Thank you. Hi, Ming Song. Thank you
Hi,
for being on
hello.
the show. You're my co-host, my first Singapore co-host, back home in here. And before we dive into the session of today, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuning into the prolonged pandemic, brought to you by Talk About Live International YouTube video, YouTube and podcast. Talk About Live. You can find us on tinyurl.com/Talk About Live. So for the February special for Ming Song and his followers, his viewers, and myself, ladies and gentlemen, as you are tuning into the show, today is the 18th of February, 10:04 Singapore prime time. And in the US, it's actually 9 a.m. America Standard Eastern Time, 8 a.m. America Central Standard Time, and 6 a.m. America Pacific Time. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. A little bit about commercial break before we speak to Ming Song. February special, for those of you who are tuning in right now, is dedicated to the people, about people under prolonged lockdown. Now we are into the second year of the pandemic, which is such a huge, extraordinary times of our lives that we did not predict. Not anyone with the best brains had predicted And I don't think any astrologers or geomancers have predicted about this prolonged pandemic, not even a SARS that we had it years ago. The whole world is under this situation right now, wherever you are, either in the US, in South America, Central America, Europe, Asia, or Africa. We are all in this together, and this show is actually dedicated to people out there, the mom and pop businesses, the fathers, the mothers, the business owners, the entrepreneurs, job seekers, fresh graduates, teachers, students under lockdown at home doing online prolonged lockdown for students all over the world. This is dedicated to you, and this whole host of international panel of hosts that Ming Song, Mr. Ang Ming Song, we've invited him. He so graciously accepted. And this whole panel, we are here for, and we're doing this because we hear you. It's a prolonged lockdown. It's very difficult time for a lot of the people out there, and we are quite fortunate in Singapore because a lot of the restoration of new normal has set in. We're trying to adjust. People are going back to the cinemas, the theaters, the shopping, and even going back to hotels for vacations. We call it staycations in Singapore. So ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, you're from India, you're from Pakistan, Africa, Philippines, because I know you write in to me, American, Mexicans, Malaysians, Singaporeans who are tuning in. This show is dedicated to you. So I hope that you can tune in for the show this week, and next week will be our final show. I hope that we can go to a crescendo whereby all these international panel of hosts will tell you some of these tips that have helped them survive through this prolonged pandemic. And hopefully some of our sharing, whether it's we're sharing it in a light-hearted manner, we are having a banter, we're having a chit chat, we're having a joke, but we know that the topic is serious. A lot of you, a lot of us are going through this with a lot of anxiety, fear, confusion, and in these times of uncertainties. And we hear you. Not only we hear you, our hearts go out to you. And hopefully that in our sharing, you can continue to share these videos to your friends, even after today, after the live cast is there forever online for infinity. Share and share and share so that someone down the line, they hear us and they know that someone in another part of the earth is going through the same thing, and hopefully you feel you're not alone. So with that commercial break, I welcome Ming Song from Singapore. Hello, Ming Song, could you say hello to the international audience and introduce yourself to the world?
Hi everyone from whichever part of the world you belong to. My name is Ming Song, and it's a pleasure and privilege to be on here. I hear that I'm the first Singaporean, I'm the first Singapore-based co-host that Vicky has invited. So it's really a huge privilege to be doing that. So a little bit about me. I am a video producer by trade. So that's what I do. I run a business. I've been in business for over 10 years, and over the last 10 years, in fact. So we dabble in producing videos for the corporates, and we have pivoted pretty fast. And last year, 2020, was our best ever year since the start of the company. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I'm happy to share a lot more down the road as we are chatting about different topics.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ming Song. And the reason why I have invited Ming Song, if everyone has followed the prolonged pandemic, we have a whole list of topics for all of us, all of you. We've got on Tuesday, Miguel Flores, professor of English, who talks about his part of the world in Mexico, Central America, whereby it is a very difficult time because Central America, where Mexico is. It's actually number 2 in the world, behind America for the cases, for the rates there. So it is a really hard situation for the people around there. And then on Wednesday, we've got Pastor Anita Brown, and if anybody tuned in, Pastor Anita Brown actually prayed for Singapore and prayed for the world. And a little bit of recap, she actually prayed for the vaccination for everyone. And can you imagine, Ming Song, at this time of of human history, the world is just waiting for vaccination for how many billion? 8 billion people in the world. And we're talking about back in 2019. Can you remember 2019? It was a world whereby people were just going through their lives. And then we've got 2020. And then now we've got 2021, where people are just talking about vaccination. It is just so unthinkable. And therefore, it makes our show, Ming Song, so much more significant and important, and I should say meaningful, as we document this for human history on the internet world, whereby everyone around the world are just talking about one thing in their mind: pandemic, vaccination, and the numbers and lockdowns. Pastor Anita Brown actually prayed for everyone and prayed for the vaccine to agree with our DNA wherever you are. You know, the vaccine is going to go to the Chinese, it's going to go to the Indians, it's going to go to different kinds of DNA we are made up of. Yet, you know, we hope that the vaccination agree with our body DNA. It is a new kind of technology, as I read online. And then today we've got Lamar, Wallace, a celebrity chef. He talks about how does one take care of our food when we're in prolonged lockdown. I mean, this is one of the biggest headaches, right? If you have a wife and you have children, it's like the wife is really scratching the head. What am I supposed to cook today? You know. So, and then we've got today yourself pivoting your business in the pandemic, and hopefully business owners can get something out of this session with Ming Song, who has successfully pivoted his business, and he will share with us a few tips that perhaps the listeners or the viewers could adapt. It may not be wholesale, of course, but could adapt here and there. Okay, this one sounds good. Maybe I can use that. This one sounds right. Why haven't I heard about this? You know, and also some of the things that goes through his mind as he has gone through 2020 and also 2021. Ming Song, tell us a little bit about, you know, as you revisit 2020 for yourself. Firstly, yourself as a business owner, how did you see, number one, 2020? We thought that 2021 we're going to emerge out of the pandemic, but we have not. And how do you see review 2020, and how do you see now 2021 and moving forward from a business owner point of view?
Yeah. So, in fact, my story started from 2019. 2019 was our worst year ever in recent years. Okay. That's why, in a way, anything and anyhow, whenever we step into 2020 without ever foreseeing that there's going to be a pandemic, we should become better. Because when you hit a trial, things can only get up. And that's how I took 2020 to be, even without the pandemic in mind. It was a terrible year. There are many inner stories that I would want to share a lot more. So maybe as I start to break down later on through the show, I'll uncover that. Yeah. So
we love the honesty.
Yeah. So 2020 would be a year for us to regrow and rebirth like a phoenix. Even without the pandemic, and we were really, really bad. But going back to your topic, I see 2020 as a year of transformation. I see 2020 as a year of the phoenix rebirth. I see 2020 for us and for many others as a year of unseen opportunities, and I see ourselves acceleration and the market correction happens. So
Market correction.
2020 just gives endless opportunities to anyone and everyone whose vision is not blocked and clouded to attempt and to try. And 2020 is a year, and I'll share this in more detail. The year of the David versus the Goliath, where David and Goliath both are going to start on equal footing, because it is the year of equalization. Nobody is better than the
Equalization.
person, and you have the opportunity, and to me, it's the fast versus the slow. If you spend another minute trying to be pitiful about your states of your family, about your states of wealth, your state of business, your state of whatever, that you're losing another minute to be thinking hard on what to do next. So that's really what 2020 is all about for me. Yeah.
And I'm just thinking that actually you did stack a lot in these few sentences. You know, David versus Goliath. David versus Goliath. You said that, and also you talked about equal footing. I would like you to dive a little bit deeper, because I think this is where business owners need to paradigm shift their eyes. It could either save them, it could be a sink or swim situation as the pandemic prolonged. You know, as the cash they're holding out does not let them survive far enough. And I think a lot of people are trying so hard. Some of them could have sunk, right? You know, you've seen restaurants close down. What about restaurants that you have not seen? People behind, you know, restaurants closing down. And tell us about this using your own example, and also using your philosophy that you've seen about David versus the Goliath, and also the equal footing. Tell us your thoughts on it.
This is a real story. I will not share the exact names,
Okay.
but during this pandemic, what really happened is people are scrambling, and I'm in the trade of videos. People are scrambling to put out digital events, and that obviously has a huge portion of video making involved, as well as live streaming. And when I say the story of David versus Goliath, I'm running a small business. I had about 4 staff at the ending days of 2019, early days of 2020, and we were not big. But when the opportunity arises for a pitch with a client, we were put on equal footing, because this new thing that we were supposed to carry out is something that the trusted and the existing vendor or the existing provider to this client had also no track records. And that's where the opportunity really arises for any small businesses to go out and fight. So if you imagine, I would never imagine in normal times that I would pitch and be able to win over a contract when put together against these big boys who have international offices, who have thousands of staff. There's just no way we could have won. But because it's a age of equalization, right? We are really on equal footing with these big boys. They are not much more experienced compared to us, and that's when we were actually weighed and given opportunities to showcase what we really could do, and that's when we won out in the end. That's how I live to tell the story. So think about this pandemic as a day of equalization, that it is really possible for you to think hard, work smart, work really fast. For small companies out there, you could really emulate and take a leaf out of what we have done. The spirit of the small business is really in the mindsets and the thinking behind the entrepreneurs. The day that you have given up, it doesn't matter if you have zero cash or even negative cash flow in your bank. But the day you have given up in your mind is the day you will die. And I say your business will die. It is not having negative cash flow. It's having that mindset. And I'm saying this because later part of 2019, I almost sunk to those times when I was struggling. I was almost giving up. And short of saying I went into depression, I knew when to seek for help. I found people to speak to. I found coaches, and I'm glad I had people around that who are qualified around me. And I found time to speak to them. I'm very thankful they found time, they made time to spend time with me and reigniting that fire that's probably just buried. That's why I said the year of 2020 is also the phoenix rising from the ash. Even without the pandemic.
And I would like to applaud you for sharing such honest terms about what you went through 2019 and then 2020. I thought that would be so important, like what you say. I think that would be the quote for the week. It doesn't, even you have negative cash flow, right? It doesn't mean a thing, but once you give up in your mind, that's the end. That's when your business really die. So it's the mindset. Tell us a bit more about this mindset, because you are saying that as an entrepreneur, and I hear it from you as an entrepreneur, the business is made up of the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is the business. The business is the entrepreneur at the very beginning stage when you are small. You've gone through this particular phase that you had this battle in your mind. Tell us the point whereby you were almost into depression and then you got to seek help. And you know that recognizing that you were almost into depression, the recognition and knowing that you are actually at that state, it's very important. Tell us what were the indicators, what were you going through? I think a lot of people are going through that in the pandemic. That's why you see a lot of violence on the streets, violence in the homes right now. You can see the newspapers today, last week, a lot of shocking news, among the heartlanders, a lot of violence. Tell us what went in your mind at that point of a pre-depression state, and then what were the indicators that you knew that you were in there, and then how did you get help, and then how did they help you? Tell us. I thought that was such a good learning point for a lot of people.
So I guess when you know you need to work and you don't want to go to work, or rather when you stare blankly, and especially in my trade, you stare blankly at your laptop screen.
Okay.
And only negative thoughts comes to you. What can I do?
Negative thoughts.
Yeah, only negative thoughts comes to you. You are thinking of all the negative stuff that can be happening.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge point for you to look out for. And you feel that everybody else is laughing at you. You feel that everybody else are talking bad behind your back.
Was that real or was it imagined?
It's probably imagined.
But it doesn't matter, right? Because it's all in your
real.
mind.
It seems real.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It just is in your mind. Yeah. So you had that feeling, and then what happened?
So I kind of recognized that things like that was happening, and I'm very thankful for such friends in my life. I picked up the call. I said, "Would you have time for coffee?" I just needed someone to chat with. Yeah, and I'm thankful. I'm lucky, I guess. I've got very trained people in my life,
Wow.
who who is a psychologist by training,
Yeah.
and he made time
Wow.
for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, despite his own busy schedule.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was a huge thing. I probably drank
Summarize.
I probably drank coffee with him for 2 or 3 sessions,
Mm.
and I think all I needed was a listening ear, and I think he didn't do too much, but that listening ear helped a lot, and
Mm.
he gave some specific portions or some specific inputs and specific small actionable inputs.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that helped it all.
I would like to ask, you did say something like he didn't do much except for listening, and you needed someone to listen. So there are two aspects of this, right? It was your business that didn't do well, that affected you, that put you down, right? And you were staring blankly in a screen, a lot of negative thoughts, etc. Really, you were affected because of external forces. And this, that when you had this session with a psychology friend who helped you along the way, he really did not help you in your business. The business still was the same, but it was your mind that turned around. Am I right?
Precisely.
And then
I,
how you saw the world was different again.
I mean, he probably can't do too much to help me in my business. There's not someone from
Yeah.
my trade.
Yeah.
In fact, I gave him more tips about video making and stuff like that along the way during our chats.
Mm.
But like we earlier mentioned, it is the mindset of the entrepreneur which makes all the difference. And he helped to rekindle some of those
Mm.
sparks. And
Mm.
that's really what matters.
Yeah. So can you also share with us what are the tips that he did eventually share, or what are the things that you think you got tips from that you can share with the viewers to get out of that mindset, even though the circumstances were almost largely still similar, um, like before. Yeah, tell us some of the tips that people can take.
So we can't control what we can't control. So one important thing to get out of this immediately is do something small and achievable that gives you that small win.
Oh, the small win.
The
Okay.
small win matters so much. You need to get back. For example, I was just blindly staring into this laptop and stuff like that. So the small win could be start making a very short but simple video in my case. In probably a restaurant owner's perspective, he used to be serving huge banquets, but no longer possible. So whip out his favorite dish again, something small and something that sparked your first love of why you entered that trade in the first place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you're right, because you are saying that number one, you can't really change the large environment, external environment, and definitely not overnight, right? And you don't have the ability to change the larger environment where the business is in. But it was the mindset that kind of like shifted, and the eyes changed the way it views the world. That kind of lifted it up. Tell us how you felt uh, after. I'm sure before that you were like feeling very low, very dull, and you say that it reignited that spark in you again, then how did that help? How did you feel, and how did that help in your pivoting of the business in 2020?
So it definitely don't happen overnight. So
Yeah.
the simple thing that you will feel is, I think we all have felt this way before. The
Yeah.
huge sign of relief
Mm.
when something is solved. Have
Yeah.
you solved everything? No.
Yeah.
But you have solved enough to know that there's a way forward. What is that way? You don't know, but you know there's a way forward.
Yeah.
So once you are able to catch and experience that,
Yeah.
and that you are empowered, you
Yeah.
are no longer being manipulated by
Yeah.
the circumstances around you,
Mm.
and that's when you get back. Because how
That's
did
how you
we
get back.
how did we all end up in entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Do we all inherit large businesses to start? No,
Mm.
I'm sure we all
Mm.
started with,
From
most of us at
zero.
least, from zero.
Yeah.
And just think about that state again.
Wow.
Isn't it great that we are given a chance to restart, but that we are a little bit more experienced? We already
With
know.
even better state now, because there was the experience of success and fail. And you're right. I think you actually spoke to the spirit of our prolonged pandemic series, this month-long special. It is the people that did not have the big mountain of cash like Li Ka-shing, right? Right? Because we did not live, we are not born with a mountain behind, right? We're not born with a mountain behind whereby we feel that, okay, if we fail, definitely the debt is going to bail us out. Definitely there's money that's going to be dug up, because it is a generation, as the world is moving forward, there is a generation at that brick level. I'm really saying that the brick and mortar level, really, I think we belong to the brick and mortar level, to use the word in a creative sense, like the brick to a house, right? There's nothing behind us, and you're really starting from scratch. And I think you said it very beautifully, as in, think of the times when you started when there was nothing anyway. But now it's one up because there was the experience of success and failure, and if there was a failure, but anyway, failure was just another experience. If there was a failure, that was a lot of experience that point out, don't do this way anymore. So you were a lot of cumulatively are moving forward anyway. So I think you actually spoke to the heart of the show, because a lot of people, and the show is dedicated to people like you and I. We are born with not, we are not the Li Ka-shing's children or grandchildren or the in-law or the cousins, you know. I mean, it's like, okay, they need another million for the office decoration and all this. You know, they could do it, but you know that being a small business owner like yourself, you know, and hats off to you to have started this for 10 years. It is not easy, ladies and gentlemen, to start a small business, and definitely not in Singapore, because the environment is cutthroat, and I can call it, this is the Me Too environment, right? It is the bubble. I tell my friend, this is like the bubble tea business in Singapore. When you start a bubble tea in this street, okay, next week you've got 10 bubble tea in the next street, right? So when you start something, someone somewhere down there, someone can replicate, because business models and technologies, they are out there in the open. And if you are, I mean, you or anyone is lucky, where if you can actually move a little bit ahead, then the next one is trying to catch up, or people haven't found it out yet, for example, right? So, but in Singapore, like what you're doing now, Singapore, ladies and gentlemen, if people know, it is an island that you drive like 1.5 hours from one end to the other end, from NTU to Tampines, IKEA or something, or to the Elias Beach. right? I mean, you drive 1.5 hours on both ways, right? And up and down both ways. And you have this packed economy where economy are being packed on the street, but people are fighting for their bread and butter on the street. I mean, figuratively speaking, businesses doesn't have to be in the street. We're talking about businesses now existing virtually, right? But ladies and gentlemen, you're really like thinking of this fight is almost like a MMA, right? I think they call it MMA, right? You are literally fighting the battle in the marketplace, in such a small marketplace. We're not talking about the size of Thailand. We're not talking about the size of Malaysia, just talking about Malaysia. We're not talking about the size of Vietnam. We're not talking about we have a size in US or in China. I mean, in US, in China, if you make it, you really make it, and then you can just retire because there's such a huge economies of scale. And that's why people can make it big because they keep franchising. They can overnight franchise 100, 200 over the next like 5-6 years. They can just grow and grow because they keep doing the franchising model within their own country. With that, we call it the access to the market is there because of the size of the market. Your clients are there. But in the size of Singapore, whereby the market size is so small, and you're like what Ming Song says, it is the battle. You're battling with the big and the small in the marketplace. But maybe 2020 broke that mirror of the marketplace. It kind of broke. Does my analysis help you in that sense?
And definitely, and I actually want to write on it to say that the year of 2020 also should be the year that you break mindsets, and that you, even if you're a business based in Singapore, your client should be global, at least, even not global, at least regional.
Yeah.
That is the year that even if you're selling food,
Yeah.
think about how you can sell your food beyond the
Tell
shores of
us.
Singapore.
Tell us. I think Lamar will be very interested. Can you tell us what your idea? Give us some tips.
No, I guess it's just breaking that mindset that even if you are currently only serving most clients based in your home country, because of this period where mindsets have to be broken, you are willing and daring to try.
Yeah.
I have served more clients, more overseas clients in the year 2020 than the last couple of years in one single year.
And I think I totally was waiting for you to say that, because because of 2020, people businesses are forced to pivot, and they're forced to relook the world in totally different set of eyes, right? Like what you say, 2020 was the year of equalization, and I like that, and I think I'm waiting for your book. Year of equalization, pandemic style. Serving on the menu. Okay, you know what? I'm just really thinking of like what you say, the year of equalization, something that is really intriguing that we should talk about. And this is something that the listeners and the viewers can really change their mindset. 2020, when you were really thinking of like, okay, going to the clients within Singapore, when it's just this small little brick and mortar marketplace from north to the south, east to the west in 1.5 hours, and people are like, just be in such a small marketplace. But because of 2020, the barriers broke down. And like what you say, the world of, it was two things I would say, like, now that you're talking about two aspects. Number one, suddenly the businesses became virtual. You were able to go regional because there was no border, there was no barrier of entry. It was just a level playing field, right? So that was one aspect. So you quickly were able to see that and seize that. And number two, the big boys weren't able to run as fast as you. Tell us more about this mindset of this 2020. How did you pivot?
I don't know how I pivoted.
So was it a deliberate, or was it like something just kind of like just went with the flow?
So again, I want to go a little bit into the history pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I pre-COVID I set up another company. Now I run two different companies, wearing different hats. And at some point in time, I vividly remember someone telling me, "You're wasting your time." And I think thinking back, and this is a lesson learned for any business owners. If someone tells you your idea is stupid, please smile and say thank you. Because when an idea is stupid and it probably wouldn't work, means it will work, but maybe not in its current format. But with some tweaks, it will be life-changing, at least for you. If not for the rest of the world or the rest of the people you serve, it will be. Because that business that I actually co-founded was in the business of providing live streaming services. And turned out that was the crown jewel when COVID hit. Because what could corporations do when the whole world is locked down? They turn to live streaming. And I seized that opportunity quite early on in 2018, 2019, because I already see clients not wanting to fly as much and holding their town hall meetings across multiple cities. And that was a trend that I already caught on. But the market size is actually quite small. The demand is actually quite low. But I thought it was worth a shot anyway. Yeah, no doubt it is not as significant during normal times compared to right now. But that really was the jewel in the bag that allowed me a head start over many of my peers.
And so back to the point whereby you say that you were able to come out of that mode, right? Because your friend helped you. And how did it take you to really come out of that mode? That you regain your momentum, you regain, you are the owner of the business. The business depends on you. You are the one that sets your cycle. You are the one that sets your goal, your milestones financially or project wise, and you are the one that everyone is looking at, right? And there was a lot of pressure, I'm very sure. So how long did it take you from being in that pre depression state to get back to fully as an entrepreneur and have that ignition of the passion like before? How long did that take? And how did your company go through that period while you were there, going through emotional struggle, mental struggle, I think?
So that period of the mental struggle, probably about 2 to 3 months. And the fact is, most business owners are not the best. Honestly, I feel are not the best at doing the thing or the service or providing the thing that the company does.
Yeah.
And
Agree.
I think that's a fact. So
Agree.
what was the turning point for me personally is surround yourself and do a fact check. What do you really want out of the business? Who are the people you need in your team? Do not be afraid to have people in your team who do not share your goals or who do not share your directions, and just wish them well and look out for the next team member who shares your exact directions. So to do that, you need to be able to articulate what you want to do. I think the last thing that you want to be in a state where you are lost and you are almost feeling depressed is, I don't know what to do. Picking a direction, and even if that direction is wrong, is better than having none at all. Yeah, so pick a direction. Just probably turn around and just point your finger somewhere. Pick a direction and focus hard on it. Focus hard on it. And once you focus hard on it and you tell yourself this is where you want to go, think about the people you want on your team who will be a good fit to help you along. And that's really the turning point for me, pre-COVID.
Could I ask you, this went on, and you were thinking very logically as a business owner, as a project manager, as someone who's going to execute on the ground, right? And you were having this mental fight before, a lot of like emotional, mental situation. How were you able to segregate your mind to say that, okay, I am like what you say now, okay, I suddenly become so logical. I need to like shortlist who is going to be on my team, who's going to share my vision, etc., and who's going to be not going to be, and then also thinking about the direction. I'm going to go through this direction, and I'm going to get clarity. Also knowing that that 2 months, you were also going through a mental situation. So how did you manage both inside the mind? And we're talking about mind because we're in prolonged lockdown whereby everybody's mind is messed up.
you can't. And that's a fact. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't do. You can't be logical and you can't be emotional at the same time. So I would say the good 2 to 3 months, perhaps the light bulb moment.
Light bulb moment.
Probably took 2 weeks, and the rest of the time was
in the blur.
Wallow in pity. Wow, you are the worst person. You nothing worse have come. Why does it have to happen to me? That kind of stuff.
Okay.
So the earlier you wake up, the better. But I think it's a process. You will have to face that before you finally get your own light bulb moment. So it differs from people to people. But I think the step is knowing that you need help, knowing that you want to speak to someone. Yeah, I think that's really the most important of all.
If your friend had not reached out to you, or if your friend, the psychology friend has not been with you during that period, who would you have reached out in your own circle of family or closer friends? Because he was trained, right? But what about someone who's untrained? Who would you have reached out to? Or would you have not reached out to anyone?
In fact, I don't know. On hindsight, I would not have reached out to someone too close to me.
Tell us why.
I don't know. My gut feel is I feel that this person may be judgmental in a good sense. And you may feel that he's saying good things for you only. And you may not, at least that's what I think will happen to me, that it doesn't seem genuine. You're only saying the good things because I need to hear them, that kind of stuff. In fact, again, on hindsight, I think if you reach out professionally to someone else who may not know you personally, that might be the better thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, like, we are business owners. I mean, you know that I'm also a business owner. Just that I'm in lockdown in Singapore. Now, I hope to go back to France very soon, or otherwise I have to wind down my business and repivot back to Singapore. So you've got this curve, right? Your business was going through this dip in 2019. right? And this did brought you down, right? Because you're looking at all the numbers and it brought you down. And then you had this turning point because your mindset kind of like helped you lift it up, right? At the end was the mind that lifted the business, and you had to have some small challenges, as like what I say. So when did the business kind of lift up? Like you said, it was 2020. So it was the environment of 2020 that lifted you up.
It's true.
It was the external environment that lifted you up, or was it a conscious effort on your side that okay, now I'm switched off from my depression times. I'm now back to my pre-entrepreneur passion. So I think that's very important. Which curve is bringing the other curve up? It is the business curve bringing you up, or was it you trying to lift up the business? We're talking about two curves here. It's almost like talking about the MCMR curve in economics or something. It was like, which is bringing which one up?
So
Tell us.
I guess you are actually asking, was it luck?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I want to ask you.
So this is what I say when people look at someone successful and say, yeah, you're just lucky. And this is what I would respond in return, that luck comes to those who are ready.
Wow, those who are ready. Yeah.
Yeah. So the truth is both. The mindset shifted, the mindset woke up, and the mindset is ready to embrace whatever the external environment throws at us. So if the pandemic had not happened, I think I would have grown or gathered a team who would be able and willing to do anything else that would make it successful again.
Okay. So I would say that, like what you say, I wasn't really thinking about luck, but I was really thinking about what was it you that lifted the business, or was it the environment that helped lift your mind up? So I think it's quite clear, like your mind had to be lifted up, like what I think we are now trying to conclude, in your case study that you shared with us. Through what you say to us, because it's a real life story and it's a real life case, and we are dissecting this for our viewers, right? Really, it was the mind that lifted up the business. It was the business that put you down, but now you have to have the mind to lift up the business. And I think this is something that we should take away with us through your story, right? We're having a conversation, but this is very important. What is the takeaway, ladies and gentlemen? We're going deep because we are trying to find solutions to a lot of small business owners. And a lot of small business owners are struggling through, if they're not reinventing enough right now, and they're not poised enough for pivoting, and it's really hard if they don't have a consultant. And some consultants, they are also in the dark themselves. They call themselves consultants, but they don't even know the industry. Maybe they don't even know how to really help you. They're just trying to give you nuggets of ideas. But Ming Song, I think what you said is very, very important, and thankfully for having you on the show, because small business owners, it could be someone that has a retail shop, right? It could be someone that's having this selling 12 cupcakes in Singapore that has all these branches now facing the brunt of the media, right? There could be a business owner that is doing either F&B. A lot of successful F&Bs, they are all closing down. People who have been there, established brands, closing down after 40 years because they couldn't pivot themselves enough, or because of cost-cutting measures. But these are real cases we're talking about that are the victims. And neither did they think in 2019 they will end up like this in 2020 or 2021. It is unprecedented. Nobody calculated it, right? So that's why it makes your story and makes this show very important, because we're talking about real stories. The business is going to be taken down by the pandemic. It is already. But like what Ming Song has said, he has gone down the trough of the curve. The pandemic brought, I should say, pre-pandemic times 2019 brought him down. The business brought him down, but his mindset helped lift up the business. And at the same time, he was able to pivot the business, either coincidentally or deliberately, but it must have been a team of people that they were ready when opportunities came. No, if opportunities come and you're not ready, you're still dressing up and getting ready when people are knocking and then you're still in the room, and they would have left when they knock, and they don't knock twice. I mean, customers do not knock twice or three times because they will go to the next best person. So I think Ming Song's story is so significant to listeners out there who are running small mom and pop businesses, entrepreneurs, and even graduates who are trying to start their own business, because after a prolonged period of job seeking, and which is true in Ming Song right now, there's going to be about 60,000 people looking for jobs about every year in Singapore. 60,000 fresh graduates, as in universities, poly, ITE schools. They are just going to come in. Are there going to be like 60,000 jobs for them? So I think what you say is very important. Like, you're using a life story. You're not getting from any textbooks, ladies and gentlemen. Right? I mean, which is so important for something like this for us to share. It is the mind that lifted up the curve. You see? It was the mind that lifted up the curve because the view of the world changed. And I thought you have said it, and your life story have said it, so important for us with your life story. Now in 2021, Ming Song, for the next 3 minutes or so, before we come back next week, I thought, even with what you say, there's a lot of drama, just that we can't capture in a movie. You as a filmmaker, maybe you should do it into a movie. You know, I will work with you to do a pre-pandemic series and kind of submit it to the Cannes Festival one day. We should do that. We should really do that, because there's so many life stories, short storytelling in 10 minutes. So, Ming Song, tell us in the next 3 minutes or so, when you revisit 2021, and now we're in the beginning of revisit 2020, now we're in the starting of 2021. Tell us, what is your view of the direction amidst the uncertainties?
I think my answer would be the same as I have given earlier on, just that it's extrapolated to the year of 2021. You will know, and there will be uncertainties, and you have to treat uncertainty as your friend. Never put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Pick a direction and move forward. Be ready to fall. Be ready to fall. But because you have put your eggs in various baskets, when one or two of them fall, the rest moves on. So pick a direction, be prepared to fall, get it up, push forward.
Okay, can you reiterate that for the listeners and the viewers? Number one, be prepared to fall. Take a direction, stick with that, and then don't put all the eggs in a basket. Tell us what are your 4 pointers again?
Right. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't have clients all segregated within a certain sector. When one fails, you're dead. Yeah. Okay. Example, you are focused on tourism.
Yeah.
And somehow there must be a way in every single business to diversify somewhat. Yeah. So think about that it is a must not to put all your eggs in one basket. Two, I said be ready to fall, because we never know what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow, what if the next bad thing happens in the external environment? Be ready to fall, but get up quickly, because failing in that very same sense of word is an opportunity for you to restart. Yeah, and try something different.
Very good.
So this is just not allowing yourself to fall for too long, and just get up and try again. Yeah, just put on that beginner mindset. The other one I was saying is have a general direction.
Or a direction.
Have a general direction and follow through, and be ready to shift direction if need be. But don't try too many things all at once. Yeah, I think perhaps some of you may think is contrast. I'm actually trying to deconflict myself. I don't make sense, but when I have a general direction, I persevere enough to try hard. But at the same time, I know I need to diversify. That's really the few things that I thought could be done.
Thank you so much, Ming Song. It was wonderful for the 60 minutes that you have shared your life story and a lot of real takeaway. Ladies and gentlemen, the prolonged pandemic, these are real life stories and these are real life turning points where they are current, they are relevant, they are tested for you to take away. Nothing is from a textbook, nothing is regurgitated. Nothing is just theory. We're talking about people sharing what they're going through in their lives to pick themselves up, repivot, reinvent, go forward, change their mindset, change the view of the world, using their minds to pick up the businesses directions again. And then, like what you said, fall but come back stronger, pick a direction, stay with it, and have that clarity to go forward. Thank you so much, Ming Song. Thank you for the 60 minutes of wonderful time. Ming Song, welcome you to our next session. And ladies and gentlemen, shout out to all the listeners and the viewers and Ming Song's listeners and the viewers out there. And as this gets replayed and as this exists for perpetuity on the internet world, please share this video again and again and again. We don't do this for money or fame. I mean, if you wait for this for fame, I think we'd have all been dead. If you wait for this for money, we'll all be dead. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's so much purity in everything that we share. We've got Lamar Wallace today, just before Ming Sun came up, and he shared about his business as a business owner in a catering business, how he is trying to reinvent his business for box lunch delivery, menu selection, etc. And also for Ming Sun to talk about his entrepreneurship journey and how he actually went through the 12 case and now going up, and how he actually worked with basic principles that he has shared, not all eggs in a basket. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, and we'll wait for you to come in to be here with Ming Song again next Thursday, 10 p.m. Singapore prime time, just after Channel News Asia. Come on here again, because when you look at this, actually is with all the other international news videos in the international news channel showing live in the world. So ladies and gentlemen, come on to the show, watch him, give us your comments, and also share, reshare, and reshare. Thank you, Ming Song, for coming on to the show. And for that, let's give ourselves a round of applause, Ming Song. And I salute you for sharing your heartfelt stories, for sharing to the listeners and the viewers who are out there. They are struggling too. And you know what? They don't have the privilege like us to be sharing up online. They're struggling in their minds. They're going through a lot of uncertainties that Lamar Wallace has talked about. Even him as a business owner, he shared a lot of struggle in his mind as a business owner. You know, am I going to continue? Do I continue? Do I have the money to keep the lights on? A lot of real things. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in, share, and share. Thank you so much, Ming Song. I'll see you next week. For now, please stay safe, Ming Song and everyone.
Bye.
Bye.